Hey everybody, TacticAngel here, playing some World of Warships on the PlayStation 4. Today I just wanted to talk a little bit about the May 2019 update to Legends, which includes the first campaign, the campaign for the Atlanta. First I wanted to talk just a little bit about the update, then I'll go on to talk about the Atlanta campaign. You now have the ability to actually mount a second flag on your boat. If you earned a flag like the Alpha or Beta Tester flags, or if you've purchased a pack like the Arizona that might have a flag with it, like the Arizona Memorial flag. To do that, you're going to need to go into the menu where you select your booster flags, and then go down to this flag slot, which you will see at the bottom. It's possible that you don't have one of these flags yet, but as you can see here, I've earned a couple. If you don't worry about it. You're going to be able to probably earn some of these in the future, or get them for events, or find them in different boat packs. There's also been a couple of miscellaneous improvements. They've improved, for instance, the shadows of the clouds on the water, and if you pay attention to this, it actually does make the game look quite a bit better. If you're not, you'll just kind of passively think that the game looks a little bit better. There's also a new game login screen that'll show you slides to offer you information about current events, update history, or to remind you that you have the ability to spend money on this game. In terms of something that'll actually affect gameplay, you now have the ability to actually choose what order you upgrade your boat. So previously, whenever you would get to a major upgrade, you had the opportunity to purchase whatever major upgrade was assigned to that slot. But now you can go in and actually upgrade a ship in pretty much any order that you want. To show this, we're going to once again look at my Mitsuki. As you can see here, I have two slots open. When I click on one of these, I have the option of basically choosing whichever one I want. So I personally think probably the first one that I would go for would be the hull. And then since the Mitsuki is not really much of a gunboat, I'm going to go for the rate of fire rather than the range. Now the thing to realize about this is if you do this and you felt like you've made a mistake, you can go in and uninstall them, and it doesn't cost any credits and it doesn't cost any doubloons to uninstall these major upgrades. Then I could go over here and decide maybe I do want the longer range guns. I mean, I think it's a mistake, but do whatever you want. You can switch back and forth. Certainly at these lower tier ships, it's not going to make too much of a difference if you've made a mistake, but some of the higher tier ones, maybe you decide one of these other upgrades is going to be better for you. You will have to pay for them in terms of their unit cost, but when you uninstall them, they're just sitting in your inventory and you can put them right back on the boat if you want. There were some bug fixes. I'm not going to spend any time on this. I will provide a link if you'd like to read this whole article on Facebook, and we'll just move right along. And that takes us to the last and probably biggest bit of news about the World of Warships Legends update, the first campaign. In this campaign, you'll have a chance to earn the USS Atlanta. So how do you do that? Well, you have to accumulate renown through operations, and you'll have to do this over a course of about 6 weeks, or you can throw a bunch of money at it. I'll talk about both options. So each week you're going to have a set of weekly ops. Here they're called Weekly Havoc. You can earn 225 renown through completing those. If you do the math real quick, this means that if you complete all of them, you will get to 13,050 renown, assuming that you can get the same amount of renown each week. According to the picture on the Facebook page, you're going to need 1,950 renown in order to get the Atlanta. So where do you get the extra 600? The extra 600 are earned through these campaign trials. They add up to a total of 650, so it looks like you can overshoot the mark, but just barely. Going into these campaign trials, there are really two sets of missions here, and you have to do each one of them in order. First, we'll start with the starter missions. These are all relatively normal things to do. We're talking about doing damage, winning games, taking potential damage, spotting people, capturing bases, etc. So these are not missions that you have to do in one sitting. You rack them up over the course of your battles. So eventually, if you play enough, you will get to the end of this, and you will get all 250 renown out of this series of missions. The other more challenging, if not wildly difficult missions, will grant you 100 renown each. These are things like citadel a ship 5 times in one game, or hit enemy ships 6 times with torpedoes in one game. Both of those, I would contend, are things that most people are probably going to be able to do given enough opportunities. Where it starts to get pretty crazy is the third one: cause 150,000 hit points and damage to ships in one game. A lot of people are going to struggle with this because 150,000 hit points is a huge amount of damage. Dealing 150,000 hit points in damage is something that if you do regularly, you are god tier, and you do not need to listen to me for advice. So this one is going to be challenging for a lot of users, and I think this is where a lot of people are going to get tripped up. If you get past that, then essentially you have to earn a Kraken Unleashed, somewhere between tier 3 and tier 7. I consider that to be a significantly easier task. So if you do manage to get 1,950 renown, you still won't earn the Atlanta unless you have purchased Admiralty backing. Admiralty backing costs 2,500 doubloons. That's essentially $10 United States currency. And essentially what this does is, as you're going through these different missions, there are different rewards that you get for being somebody who's playing for free and someone who has purchased the Admiralty backing. So immediately we see when we go in here, I have a box that has a gold outline. I'm sorry if you're colorblind, I don't know how to describe it otherwise. And that is available only to those of us who have purchased Admiralty backing. Yes, I'm going to try to get through this campaign. These other ones that have white outlines and a more blue background are rewards that you can get whether or not you purchase Admiralty backing. So if you're looking at this and you're thinking, man, that 150,000 seems really tough, there is some good news about this. Okay, so what is that good news? Let's back up a couple of days. Here you see I'm purchasing Admiralty backing. I've already gotten to level 3. I hold X to purchase that, and boom, you see it puts a check mark next to the commander's container, the orders, and all this extra XP. Essentially, it credits all of the things that I've already earned to my account, even though I didn't have Admiralty backing at the time. And you can see up here I do have the one container that I could open for that level 1 completion. Now I understand what I'm saying is basically the good news is you don't have to spend money now, you can spend it later, but this makes it less of a gamble because you can get all the way to the end, and if you get there and you're like, yeah, I want to pick up the Atlanta, then you can purchase Admiralty backing, and you don't really miss out on any of this stuff. The other part of this monetization scheme is essentially you can boost your way through the campaign. There's 79 levels of it, and each level can be essentially skipped if you want to spend 250 doubloons. So you can sit down day 1 and drop a whole bunch of cash on this, and you're done. You can run around with your Atlanta. Great. That's a little rich for my blood, but more power to you, I guess. If you see anybody out there first week with an Atlanta, that's what they did. So, thank them. Somebody's got to keep the servers on, I guess. As for me, I'm actually going to try to experience this campaign as intended. So you actually won't see my Atlanta review probably until the last week of the campaign. So sorry for that. As a result of the announcement of this, which was a little bit weird and maybe off point, Wargaming said they are going to have a series of missions that you can complete to actually earn the 2,500 doubloons you need in order to purchase Admiralty backing. I don't know how difficult that's going to be, or if you are going to be able to earn it all in one go, or if it's earn 50 doubloons here, earn 100 there, that sort of thing. More to come on that. I do plan on following up as the campaign continues to kind of tell you how I'm doing and any developments that are going on. But at the end of the day, the question is really, is it going to be worth it for you? Well, I mean, if you're in this purely as a free-to-play game, then you already know your answer, and I'm not going to change that for you. If you get that free 2,500 doubloons, maybe that changes the math a little because it's still free. So the second question is, do you really want the Atlanta? Because you can still spend that 2,500 doubloons on maybe the next campaign. Well, I can tell you she's a fun boat to play, but she's not going to be for everyone. She's a very unique vessel. She's more like a super destroyer gunboat than a cruiser because essentially she's armed with just a ton of small caliber main guns. She has 16 of them and 8 turrets. You can get 7 of them around to one side. You have some short range torpedoes that you can also use to kind of fend people off. But even though you can put out this unrelenting hail of fire and just annoy the piss out of everybody, this is also another one of those delicate flowers. So if you're somebody who gets really frustrated in boats like the Pensacola, then this ship is probably not really for you. So like I said, it sounds like they're going to be doing these campaigns in the future, and that Admiralty backing is probably going to be similarly priced, if not exactly the same price in the future. So if you hold on to the 2,500 doubloons, I can't tell you for sure if that's going to be the buy-in next time. Maybe you skip this one, maybe you go for it. But if you want an extremely unique ship or a high-tier premium ship, a campaign like this offers you a pretty good chance of getting one without having to spend the full price. If you compare getting the Atlanta for 2,500 doubloons plus playing a game you were hopefully already going to play versus the Arizona, which has a base price of 10,000, the Atlanta is clearly a better deal and it's a tier higher. Even if you can't finish the last 2 campaign trials, boosting through those is still going to come in at about half price versus the Arizona. I'm really trying not to compare this to the eye-watering price of the Buisca, but don't get me wrong, I enjoy that ship. It's just absurdly priced. The Atlanta is a much better deal, even if you have to boost through half of this. The other thing is, if you're the type of person who likes to buy flags and commander containers or promotion orders, or, God forbid, commander XP out of the shop, and I would specifically recommend you don't buy Commander's XP out of the shop because it might be the one thing more plentiful in this game than water, then purchasing Admiralty backing is actually a pretty good deal compared to even what you would get in daily offers. Now, you don't quite get to control what you're spending money on quite as precisely, but you do get a lot of stuff if you can get, half, 3/4 of the way through this. So anyway, those are my thoughts on the patch and the Atlanta campaign. I will probably do an update or 2 along the way to let you know my thoughts on how the campaign is progressing or if there's any other big news that comes along aside it. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys on the next one.